You're desperate for a bit of wonga and a sense of purpose. You walk into a restaurant, pub, or hotel and you say those cursed words. Yeah, I've worked in hospitality before. Congratulations. You've just sold your soul for minimum wage and a free staff meal that will probably give you food poisoning. Working within hospitality isn't just a job. It becomes your entire life. It's a test of mental strength, physical endurance, and your ability not to throw boiling soup in someone's face when they say, "This isn't what I ordered." You clock in on a machine that doesn't work half the time and instantly the stank hits you. That mixture of fryer grease, industrial cleaner, and the chef's alcohol-ridden burps. It seeps into your clothes, your hair, your soul. You could shower for an entire week and you would still smell like a battered burger. There's always that one person on shift who's been there since the Battle of Hastings. They know absolutely everything. Where the spare napkins are, which customers are psychos, and which manager to avoid at all costs. They move like they're solidified ghosts, powered purely by caffeine and cigarette breaks, muttering to themselves about the old menu or their crippling social life. Not that anyone actually gives a flying f***. Then you've got the chefs, or as I like to call them, the overqualified dinner ladies. Every single one of them is either an alcoholic, a Colombian vacuum, but most of the time, both. Functioning on a diet of Red Bull, nicotine, and unresolved childhood trauma. The head chef's got an ego bigger than his stomach and fails to please his wife, but don't worry, he'll still scream at you because you don't appreciate his excellence. Get up! He's either the kind of man who'd have Gordon Ramsay crying in the walk-in fridge, or he's got the job just because he's sleeping with the owner. The kitchen's a f***ing war zone. Fryers are hissing, tickets piling up, and someone shouting, "Where's my f***ing chicken salad?" There's always that one funny chef who has zero filter and makes highly inappropriate jokes to the waitresses. "Yeah, not the first time you've held a tender stem, love, is it?" And somehow gets away with it because everyone's come to accept who he is. He's got burns on his arms, a cigarette behind his ear, and opinions that belong in the National History Museum. The chefs call the bar staff and waiters pricks relentlessly. It's almost like a sport at this point. They holler, swear, and throw tea towels like they're hand grenades, and for the most part, everyone's absolutely terrified of them. They're like Michelin Man prison guards with knives. You walk into the kitchen and it's instant fight or flight. God forbid you ask for something like, "No sesame seeds on the salad." What? You may as well ask to be executed. The KP department, well, it's a different breed altogether, isn't it? It's a cesspool of delinquents, reprobates, and washed-up philosophers. You've got the grumpy old git who's been there since the 70s, the 16-year-old who vapes instead of breathing. You could play dot-to-dot with the rashes covering both their arms. You've also got the guy who looks like he's on a 3-day bender, because he is. The piles of dirty plates and pans look like an AC-130 hit IKEA, and you scrape away at them like you're trying to erase your credit card debt. They get fed like pigs, receiving whatever scraps are left at the end of the shift, and they act like they've never been fed before. They'll eat literally anything the chef gives them because their entire palate consists of beans on toast and Rothman Super Kings. "Oh, you've just finished a 10-hour split shift? Would you mind just deep cleaning the dishwasher and mopping the entire kitchen? We're just gonna head off and do some drink driving." And then you have the pastry department. It's always mostly women. Lovely, chatty, charming, and absolutely lethal. They gossip like it's an Olympic sport. You put one man in that section and he's either quit within a month, emotionally destroyed, or he's absorbed their entire personality. They run their own little kingdom full of piping bags, passive aggression, and pink. Meanwhile, you've got the management team floating around pretending they're actually doing their job. You've got one who walks around with his head tilted to one side like his face has a brick in it or something, but in reality he's doing everything possible to hide the fact that he's got a double chin. You've got that one who constantly says, "Well, at my last place we used to do things differently," as if that's meant to impress anyone. If you were that good, mate, you'd still be working there. Gob, you do realise I am a senior duty manager, right?" And they just love finding reasons to discipline you, don't they? Late clocking? Right up. Breathing too loud? Right up. You've dipped your entire arm in the deep fat fryer? Right up. But when you give them any actual input, so any form of constructive feedback about the place or how things could be done better, they nod, pretend to listen, and then go back to being a glitter-covered turd with a superiority complex. Hospitality from a social standpoint is essentially being paid to go to school again. again. Everyone talks shit about everyone else. There's the inner circle, that one group of losers who think they're the main characters because they've worked there a year longer than you. They've got no real personality, just a shared trauma and matching water bottles. And then there's the waiting team, a circus of beauty, ego, and moaning. Half of them are good-looking people hired purely to make the restaurant seem less shit. The other half are egocentric nutters who treat waiting tables like it's a spiritual awakening. They float around with fake smiles and dead eyes, terrified of chefs, quietly hating the managers, and pretending to love the customers. They'll stand there saying, "Of course, sir. No problem at all. I'll happily add milk to your coffee that you wanted black." Like they're auditioning for the crown. Then they walk straight into the kitchen and announce, "Table 4's got a lazy eye and the personality of an MP." It's a pyramid of silent rage, fake politeness, and industrial strength sarcasm hidden behind pretentious customer service dribble. Oh, and I haven't forgotten about the bar staff. They're a breed of their own. Caffeine in the morning, trauma and tequila by nighttime. They live off the ties suffocating them throughout the day and the leftover lemon wedges. They'll get every department to do their job for them while they pour pints for the creepy old bloke who keeps calling them darling. And there's always that one person who works harder than everyone else, isn't there? Picks up everyone's slack, does doubles, covers the 6 shifts, and somehow still gets treated worse than the lazy mugs doing nothing. You watch them crumble away slowly over time, muttering, "It's fine," and then having a drunk heart-to-heart with their mate in the pub.
It's funny, innit, mate? Yeah, from pouring pints to pouring my heart out.
You learn very quickly that time off is a mystical being, but unless you're management's favourite or you've got your tongue rammed in the right place, forget it. The ones who never show up to work somehow always get their holidays approved, and the ones who keep the place running? Sorry, we're short-staffed that week. The punishment of being a reliable employee. And tips? Well, this should be discussed on Watch Dogs. The rich table leaves a 50 quid note and somehow the system splits it so you get £3.42 and a sodding smile. Someone's clearly stealing from the pot, pocketing the cash tips or claiming they forgot to log it. Pastry's already added it to their gossip journal. You're working for literal pennies, covered in sweat, grease and resentment, and you're still smiling because apparently that's good customer service. Nothing is private. Everyone knows everyone's business. Who's sleeping with who's quitting, who just had a cry in the freezer. It's all public knowledge. The walls might not have ears, but I assure you every single member of staff does. You'll have your entire personal life dissected before the starters arrive. You start to realise that hospitality isn't just a job. It's a community therapy session run by lunatics. You get yelled at, ignored, overworked and underpaid, but you share that suffering together. You cry together, laugh together, and get pissed together after the shift, when you're all sitting in the smoking area of the pub next door, chain smoking and talking about how you'll definitely quit soon. The customers, don't even get me started. The Karen Brigade, demanding to speak to the manager because their latte foam looked at them funny. The old couples who ask if the fish of the day is fresh in a pub that's 200 miles away from the coast. The one lady that seems to be allergic to literally anything that's edible. You learn to smile through the rage. You nod politely and fantasize about faking your own death. You learn what you don't want to be in your life. You learn patience, empathy, and you learn no matter how bad it gets, at least you're paying your tax to the government, eh? You don't even realise it's over until you clock out for the last time. The fryer's still humming, the chefs are still shouting, and you're standing there, elbows deep in dishwater thinking, Christ, this is it. I'll be honest, I actually cried on the day I left hospitality. I love those people, every single dysfunctional one of them. Because yeah, it truly does break you, but it gives you something too. A warped sense of humour, a backbone, and the ability to carry 8 plates while balancing a mental breakdown. And even if you end up leaving, you never truly do, because you'll be walking past a restaurant and hear a chef scream, "Service!" and the PTSD will hit you harder than COVID hit the hospitality industry.